Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Cancer energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row is going to be high vibe Cancer energy, kind of when we have hope and faith and belief in our dreams. And the bottom row is going to be our more worldly, shadowy nature, kind of how our fears or insecurities or self-limiting beliefs could stop us from moving forward in the way we'd like to move forward. Some people are kind of struggling within themselves, but there is going to be other people who are going to be in high vibe energy. They've healed or grown or matured or looked at life differently, and they're ready to move forward in life differently. And at any given moment in time, when some people are ready to move forward in life differently, there might be some people in the world or in their life that aren't ready to move forward in that way. Maybe in a more just and fair or balanced or loving way. And then they can, kind of know some people that, life's about learning lessons and how to play nice with others. And some people have learned those lessons and some people haven't. And so then we have to decide if we're going to keep that job, stay in that friendship, stay in that relationship or not. So let's go see what's going on in Cancer energy. Everybody taps into Cancer energy. It's just that some people might be have learned lessons to get along with each other better and how to be more just and fair and be open and loving. And other people still might kind of have some lessons to learn. They might be more in love with the world, and that's what drives and motivates them, or more in love with their fear or their insecurity or their immature or bossy or self-centered nature. So the reason for the top rose reading is the Cancer card, or the Two of Cups. They're aligned. We all have our dualistic nature, and they're aligned with their more loving nature. And they could have known some people that are more aligned with their egoic nature. The Five of Wands is Leo energy, just where, we have free will. And some people still have inner conflict about maybe treating people the way they like to be treated. They still are kind of aligned with the competition. I would say with the Devil underneath the Two of Cups, some people can be in a relationship and they think it's okay to be bossy or controlling or manipulative or self-centered or egotistical. And other people have learned to love their worldly nature, to offer them self-love. We've all got our shadow nature. We can all be prideful and egotistical and want things our way. But other people have learned to offer love to their worldly nature, so their worldly nature isn't sabotaging their life and their relationships. And other people haven't learned that. They're still aligned with loving their more worldly nature of like ego, which can mean a lot of things, which are some of the things I talked about. And then they do kind of sabotage the relationship. And some people already dealt with people who are like that, and they saw the truth of it. I can have love for people, and they're immature, they're lazy, they're prideful, they're egotistical, they're materialistic, they're self-centered, petty, envious, jealous, competitive. And there comes a point in time where you decide, you know what, I'm going to stand in my truth. And the page would be like, I'm not going to be really aggressive or get in an argument about it. I'm just going to stand in my truth that I have a dream. And I listen to my intuition to guide me, not my fear, not my insecurity, not my pride, my ego. And I want to go on a new journey based on love. Do you want to come with or don't you? But if this is how some people's definition of love is, like, can't a loving person be in a relationship with me, being bossy and controlling or self-centered, and we just stay in this relationship and you backstab yourself in your dreams and love, because like using the love that you have for them to manipulate you? And it's like, no. If you're not on the same page and you don't listen to your intuition and you don't want to go on a journey based on love, well, I might love you, but I'm not going to hang out with you anymore. I'm going to keep my distance from you. I'll see you at Christmas. But, we've all got to pick and choose who wants to hang around people that aren't being like just and fair. Let's go look at the shadowy row first. So we have some people have inner conflict about love and maybe deep, meaningful relationships. Some people want to be in a relationship, but they like repeating this old pattern, not growing, learning, maturing, learning lessons in order to move forward in life. I like to do it like this. You should have inner conflict about loving and believing in yourself and believing in your dreams, and you should stay in a relationship with me, or you should stay in this job. And some people are like, but you're kind of bossy or controlling, and there's something toxic going on here. And I don't want to stay in this job or this friendship or relationship. And my intuition is telling me to distance myself from you. So, in the bottom row, for a more worldly, shadowy view of life from people who harness shadowy Cancer energy, which can be people who like to use their emotions manipulatively in a relationship instead of doing the inner work to heal and grow and mature themselves. 6 of Wands, Leo energy. 4 of Pentacles, Capricorn. 8 of Pentacles, Virgo. The Strength card. The 6 of Wands, the 5 of Wands, and the Strength card are all Leo energy. Some of you could be dealing with Leo, but otherwise you're just dealing with someone who operates more from their egoic nature. I'm defensive. I'm self-centered. I think I'm all that. I think people should fight for me. People should compete to be in relationships with me. Some people view themselves as being very successful or victorious. They could be very competitive in the world, or they operate from their ego because they have a lot of inner conflict that they don't put the work and effort into resolving. So they keep operating from their more emotionally defensive nature. And then when they're in relationships with people who are holding back from them and put in work and effort to temper their own fears, their own insecurities, deal with their own inner conflict, well, then sometimes those people don't like to be in a relationship with them. I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. You've changed. 5 of Wands can talk about change. Their idea of a relationship was that they get to keep operating from their more defensive nature, that people want to hold on to being in a relationship with them anyway, and that people continue to work with them even though they're harnessing their Leo energy in a shadowy way and the other people are harnessing it in a high vibe way. Well, yeah, if you're whatever shadowy traits and characteristics some people have, say they're lazy and they don't put much work and effort to temper themselves. Well, yeah, they'd like to work with other people who do temper themselves. Are you not going to be competitive and petty and controlling and manipulative of me? Perfect. I want to be that person in the relationship. You keep maintaining discipline within yourself and you don't act that way. That's perfect. I'm glad you have inner conflict about loving and believing that you deserve better. I'm glad you're willing to keep putting in work and effort in a relationship with me. Or I harness my Leo energy in a more immature way. I can be full of myself. I'm glad you harness your Leo energy in a more high vibe way and you don't act like that. Yeah, I like to be in a relationship with you. I get to be in my shadowy ways of being. You're not. Yeah, it works for me to be in a relationship with you. You're just and fair and balanced and loving and nurturing and supportive, and I get to be like I am. Works for me. And eventually the high vibe people are like, high vibe Leo, people who harness high vibe Leo energy and Cancer energy, they're loving, they're warm, they're encouraging, they're supportive. It's like life-giving energy, trying to encourage other people to let go of their inner conflict. What is causing you so much inner conflict? Why aren't you open to being more authentic and vulnerable and loving? What are your fears and insecurities that you don't deal with that stop us from working together in a more self-aware, loving, nurturing way? And they have some foundation or a way of operating in their life or viewing the workplace or viewing relationships that they don't want to let go of. That's the Four of Pentacles. I don't want to change. And some people, they're happy living their life the way they live it. If they keep living their life the way they live it, then they don't have to put in the work and effort it takes to temper their fears, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their self-centered nature, their immature nature. High vibe Leo of the Strength card is, I have emotionally tempered my more egoic nature. I have learned to discipline myself. I put in work and effort to gain insight and understanding about why I had inner conflict about tempering it being about me. My fears, my insecurity, my immaturity, my laziness, my self-centeredness, my more worldly view of life. And some people don't want to change that. That's fine. They can live their life whatever way they want. But eventually, the more people who are more motivated to be in a more balanced, self-aware, because the Eight of Pentacles, Virgo energy is about going within to gain insight and understanding about things you prefer to not deal with or keep hidden in the dark. You grow up, you mature yourself. And eventually they have inner conflict continuing to deal with someone who doesn't want to put in the work and effort to deal with their own issues to be in a more loving, authentic, balanced relationship. And eventually those people do the work within themselves to figure out, why do I keep staying in a workplace or friendship or relationship with people who act like this? And they kind of see the truth that the only person I can change is me. And if I've been offering love and encouragement to get people to open up, to be more free, to be loving and give and receive love and get out of their defensiveness or deal with their issues, I can't make someone change how they view life or how they view themselves. Only they can do that. And eventually it causes the kind of like loving, encouraging people in their life a lot of inner conflict to keep trying to work with those people or keep staying in a relationship with them, because the other people have changed. At one time, everybody could have had inner conflict. We, get in relationships with people because we might be on the same page. And we both, at one time, could have been people that hadn't done some of this inner work, and we both could have had inner conflict. But then when people get in workplaces and romantic relationships, some people don't want to carry around that baggage, and they start to do this work to deal with, I don't want to carry my fears and insecurities around that I've had for the last 5 years. I want to work through that so I can drop that baggage, and I don't want to have that inner conflict. And I want to work through my fears and my insecurities and my self-limiting beliefs I want to learn to love myself. High vibe Leo is about, like, also represented by the sun. I want to learn to love myself and believe in myself. I don't like kind of giving in to my fears and my insecurities. I don't like it that I'm not willing to open up more or be more authentically myself. And some people, when they're in the midst of those relationships, they do this work within themselves. And that's when one person has changed and the other person hasn't. And then the people who have kind of expanded their perception of themselves and the world around them, and they kind of look at life differently, they offer love and encouragement to the people in their life to try to help them love and believe in themselves. And eventually, we just got to respect that people got free will. And if they don't want to live life any differently, they don't want to. And we just need to see the truth of it, because the truth sets us free. That I wish you peace. I'm not going to take it personally, and I can love you, but I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. And if I previously had been living more my life in a certain way, but now I've looked at life differently, or I've healed, or I've grown, or I've matured, And I'm not operating from that foundation anymore. I'm willing, I did some of the inner work to face my fears, to stand up for loving myself and what I want to accomplish in life. And it's like I'm ready to face my fears to go to the next stage of life. And if some people aren't willing to do that and they want to keep repeating this past pattern, it's like, I've been there, done that myself. And people probably couldn't have made me see life any differently when I was kind of enmeshed in viewing life that way, or in my fears or in my insecurities. But I'm ready to move forward now. So just like other people have offered that grace to us, in a way, we kind of offer that grace to other people. And it's like, I wish you peace, but I can't keep living my life like this. It's time for me to move forward. I've done some inner work. I'm ready to go to the next stage of life. And maybe it's just incorporating love into our philosophy of life, more self-love, because the Taurus Hierophant can represent our philosophy of life, how we view ourselves, how we view the world, how we view relationships, the type of life that we want to live. And as we learn lessons in life and we grow and mature, we incorporate those into our philosophy of life. Just like we were 15, we were 18 years old, we were 21, we were 25. Everybody goes through those phases of life, and some people are ready to move to the next phase of life, facing their fears and insecurities before some other people are. And it's the same thing. We do that throughout our life. And it's like, well, I'm ready to move forward in life differently. You're not, I don't want to keep living my life like a 15-year-old. I'm ready to live life more like an 18-year-old. And, we do that throughout our life. And, it's all this thing about learning to love and believe in ourselves, to face our fears, to move forward. And we can be sad that some of the people in our life weren't ready to move forward with us. And sometimes some people in our life don't like it that we have healed, or we've grown, or we've matured, or we're facing our fears. And, it can be difficult, but in the Nine of Wands, it's like, I kind of wrap my brain around some of my own issues to stand up for myself and what I believe in. And high vibe energy is about, continuing to move forward and growing and maturing and healing yourself to become all that you can be. And it's like, I offered love to people for them to come with, but if they're not willing, because they haven't maybe dealt with some of their issues, to have good boundaries within themselves, to stand up for themselves and let go of the past. Because why aren't we open to love? Probably because some relationships in our past didn't work out the way we wanted. And some people are still grieving over that. They're still don't trust maybe other people. And until they do that work within themselves, I think high vibe people maintain boundaries within themselves. They're offering those people love. If you ever get out of whatever it is that makes you keep repeating this certain way of living life, and it can be they just are more in love with the world, more in love with their defensive nature because it makes them feel safe. We're all ready when we're ready. And it's like, I wish you peace, but I'm moving on, and I'm having new beginnings with people who do want to work together with me cooperatively, where I can let like my inner child out to play and I don't feel like someone's trying to manipulate or control me. Because that's kind of what shadowy energy is. If people aren't in high vibe energy, being truthful and honest and just and fair and treating you the way you like to be treated, and you're treating them in a just and fair and loving manner, it can be people who are either in their ego and think for some reason they should kind of be indulged in a relationship, like the scales of justice should kind of be tipped in their favor, or they're living from their defensive nature and they don't let their more authentic, more vulnerable nature out to play in the world because they get hurt doing that. It's like I want to be in relationships with people who are willing to be authentically themselves. That's high vibe Leo energy, the sun. I am willing, I have learned to love and believe in myself and give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me so that I can heal from those past wounds and heartbreak and be willing to be in relationships with other people and be authentic and loving. And some people aren't willing to do that. And so then, you know, when we see the truth of it in the Tower card, that some people in our life kind of want to repeat this old pattern of, well, you should indulge me, or I should be able to manipulate you, or I only want to be in relationships with people who have inner conflict. It's like, okay, then you and me aren't trying to build from the same foundation. What you're driven and motivated by is different than what I'm driven and motivated by. And we see the truth of it and we let those people go and we emotionally detach from those people that, you know, we're not on the same page. The high vibe people want to work together with people who operate with them from a place of love, who the shadow card is like the devil card. You know, people who work cooperatively in love and they deal with their own fears, their own insecurities, their own egoic, I should be indulged nature, I should be the privileged person in the relationship, and, you know, it should be more about me than you. It's like, how about you deal with your issues? And if you don't, you know, I'm going to wish you peace and I'm going to go find the people in the world who have put an end to loving their more shadowy nature of ego, who have learned to be loving people, you know? And some people are all about wanting to align with their more worldly egoic nature, work with other people who are operating more from being motivated and inspired by the world, their ego, their image, their status, their money. And that can be the truth of it. You know, some people you can get in relationships with people and you maybe didn't realize and they maybe didn't realize, you know, how much certain things matter to them. And we come in contact with these people to help us all get clear about what is our truth. And the truth is, some people are more motivated by ego and image and money and materialism. And some people, that isn't the driving factor in their life. High vibe energy is about being balanced. Yes, I have these things of the world I want and that I want to accomplish. We all want stability and security and enjoy the finer things in life, but that doesn't mean that's the end all be all and love is optional, or I don't even care if I like my job, if it's anything. I don't care if I'm miserable at work every day. I don't care if I get, you know, some people don't care if the people they're in relationship with or in romantic relationships with, if they like them. You know, if it gets me the things that I want, I'm going to be in that job or that relationship. What's more important is the money or the ego or the power or how people view me, how I think other people view me. And other people are like, you know, I want a more balanced life. I want some of the stability and security, but I also want to be in loving, nurturing, you know, deep, meaningful relationships. And some people, love is optional, you know? In the top row, we have the Five of Swords, the King of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Temperance card. The Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. I have a dream. I was in workplaces and friendships and relationships with people that I was hoping were going to move forward with me, and it was going to move forward like, you know, in this just and fair and loving way, you know, that my dreams were going to come into reality. But some people realize that maybe some of the people they were in relationship with kind of maybe are more worldly focused and ego focused, can be kind of immature in their thinking, logic, and reasoning, and defend it being more about themselves. And that's how those people wanted to move forward. No, you should be loving. I should be able. Ooh, and we have a card hiding behind there. What is the devil hiding? Oh, I guess we did see that earlier, didn't we? The Ten of Swords. The devil wants to put an end to the truth. I don't want to have to deal with the truth. I don't want to see the truth. I defend it being more about myself. Because the Two of Wands is Aries energy, and all of us in our Aries energy, we're either more about ourself, because Aries is about the self, or we grow up and mature ourselves and we make decisions that are best for everyone affected by our decisions. And some people don't want to see that truth. They think it should be more about them. And you should love them and make it more about them. And some people saw the truth of it. Oh, I'm supposed to keep tempering the things I want to keep indulging you. It's like, no. I have a dream, and I have seen the truth. And I was offering you love and encouragement to have hope and faith and belief in yourself, encouraging you to deal with whatever you need to deal with, to be more open to giving and receiving love. And I meditated on it because the Five of Swords comes after the Four of Swords, which is you're dealing with pain and heartbreak and seeing the truth of it. And the truth is that some people live more from their mind and their heart and their ego than listening to love and intuition to guide their decisions. And then you realize, why would I keep staying in a relationships or a workplace or friendship with people who basically aren't on the same page as me? They don't want to heal, they don't want to grow, they don't want to look at life from a higher perspective, they don't want to be just and fair. What is it within me that makes me keep indulging people like that? And for some people, that could have been a pattern they were repeating, because we'll all repeat a certain pattern of relationship until we learn the lesson we were meant to learn from it. And some people are used to being in relationships with people who act that way. We've all grown up in families. We've all had different friendships or relationship experience. Some people are very loving and nurturing people, and they keep trying to put in a lot of work and effort to love and encourage other people. Why aren't we getting in it's great to treat people like you like to be treated, offer them encouragement, but we don't have to get in romantic relationships with them, stay in romantic relationships with them. And part of that is why don't I get in a relationship with someone who's more on the same page as me? And the whole thing is, that can be out of our comfort zone. I'm not used to being in relationships with people who treat me the way I treat them. I'm used to being in relationships with people who are kind of maybe prideful or hold back. That can be us in our God Savior complex. I'm going to try to make this person choose love. I'm sure if I love them enough and I do this and that, they'll be more open to love. The whole thing is, everybody has, along their journey of life, kind of decided how they want to live their life. And it can really be like an uphill battle trying to get some people who have mental conflict about love to listen to their intuition. The difference between the 5 and the 7 is the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is Libra energy about what we think is just and fair. People are the way they are because of what they think is just and fair and what makes them feel safe and helps them feel balanced within themselves. And for some people, kind of in shadow, the King of Swords, or the King of Cups, I do view the King of Cups as Cancer energy. And the masculine figures can kind of represent us acting from our ego. Some people have mental conflict about authentically harnessing their Cancer energy, where they really do take action from truth and love guiding their decisions, where they do get out of being in denial of the truth and they listen to their intuition and they balance out their strong emotions to work together with people in relationships. But other people decided, I have mental conflict about that. I kind of have fear of listening to my intuition, because before, maybe when I listened, had hope and faith and belief and love, and I took action to get in relationships with people, it didn't work out the way I wanted. So now I've decided to just wear my false mask. I'll present myself in the world to the people I get in relationships with and people out in the world that I harness high vibe Cancer energy, but I really don't. It's more like a false mask. I'm actually operating from ego. But I want to be in relationships with people who are maybe loving and nurturing. It's kind of like I want the best of both worlds. I no longer want to be more authentic and vulnerable, but I like being in relationships with people who are like that, but I want to keep staying defensive. And again, that's when people are like, I can have love for you, but I'm no longer in denial of the truth. I thought we were on the same page, and I believed who you presented yourself as being, but I've kind of seen through the illusion that you're kind of more about yourself in some way. Because if you want to be in relationships, but you want to keep being defensive, well, it's more about you protecting yourself kind of at all costs from getting hurt. Well, if you're going to be in a loving relationship with someone, you'd have to work through where, you have to get out of your defensive nature. And, we're all at these different stages of life. And I think the high vibe people are like, I have a dream. And I'm going to balance out my own inner conflict about the fact that, I can love you, whether this is siblings, parents, friends, coworkers, romantic interests. But if I don't think you're being authentic and you really haven't seen the truth, sometimes people are trying to get you to stop moving forward in your life the way you're moving forward, because they still want to be in a friendship or relationship with you, but they really don't want to see the truth. And some people could present themselves as being on the same page as you because they do want to balance things out with you, because they could have inner conflict about if they were to hold back from you, that some other people might view them as being kind of toxic or selfish in some way, and they don't want, sometimes people who are kind of in their more worldly, shadowy energy, it is all about trying to create this illusion about who they are in the world and basically trying to manipulate people into viewing them in a certain way, even though that's not really the truth of who they are. But if they were to not try to balance things out with you, people would view them in a certain way, and it's really important for them that people view them a certain way. So some of those people might even reach out to some of you because they don't want people to view them as like competitive, or like they were jealous of you possibly in some regard, maybe at work. And some of them like being in a friendship with you, but they're still not completely being honest. But they could know that if they didn't make a gesture towards you to try to balance things out, you would turn your back on them and completely move forward. So I think with the Temperance card here, which can talk about being patient, and it is also about higher learning and education, that, keep listening to your intuition, keep maintaining your balance. Don't let people stop you from moving forward in your truth and believing in yourself. Some people want to try to suck you back into being in more codependent energy. Like, if I reach out to that person, they'll have inner conflict. And I know that they're like a loving person, that they'll focus their attention back on me. And for some people, that's the end goal. I want you to focus back on me. It kind of feeds my ego. Or I just think maintain balance within yourself, offer people peace. But I'm going to keep moving forward in my truth. If, you know, I'm not going to, if the other people don't seem to be on the same page, I can get along with people in the world and wish you peace and joy and encouragement. But, you know, you're maybe no longer part of my long term dream. You're one of the many people in the world that I know that I wish the best for. But you maybe have already shown me that we're really not on the same page. And some of you, with some of those people, if you know, oh, some people might want to reach out to you because the people they did want to go get in a relationship with, kind of in their ego, they hadn't wanted to work with the people who wanted them to grow up and mature themselves because they had inner conflict about that. And they could have thought, I know, I'm going to go communicate and go get in a relationship with someone who I do think has inner conflict, because then that person will kind of indulge me in my ego, and then I get to view myself as a loving person. For some of those people, they went to go pursue those type of relationships, and the person, for some of them, they could have went towards a Capricorn or someone who they just thought kind of maybe was on the same page as them, but then that person wasn't willing to work with them for some reason. And maybe, in shadowy energy, people's aren't kind of seeing things clearly because of their ego or their fear, or full of themselves, they can manipulate people. And maybe someone they tried to go manipulate um did the work within themselves and realized this person was kind of more about themselves, or the person they went to go get in a relationship is kind of on the same page as them, but that person wanted it to be more about them. If people who are more kind of prideful or defensive or egotistical, it's just as hard for them to find someone who's on the same page as them, who is kind of willing. Some In a shadowy relationship, someone has to concede to the other person because they're not doing justice and fairness and balance and equal respect for each other, willing to work cooperatively. And if both people were kind of about themselves, and if both people are kind of defensive, and if both people like to be in relationships with people who have inner conflict so that they can manipulate them, that's a problem. And so some of the people they went to go be in relationships with, it didn't work out. And because it didn't work out, even though that person does kind of view life and live life the way they like it, and they maybe could have really liked that relationship to have worked out, if it didn't, these people are afraid their dream won't come into reality. So now, they kind of maybe want to win at all costs. So, um, and some people are just trying to deceive and manipulate the people who they really do want to work with, who are on the same page as them, who view life the way they do it, that they could decide, I know, I'm going to go present myself as loving to the people that we all could know are a loving person and try to confuse them about the truth and balance things out with them because I want to backstab the person who wasn't willing to get in a relationship with me. And maybe if they know, I know this is confusing, if they're kind of someone who's used to manipulating someone and they know the other person that they want to be in a relationship with, maybe for more ego reasons or materialistic reasons, they know that person is also kind of prideful and egotistical and competitive. They could be coming to try to get in a relationship with some people that both of them know you're a loving person, and that will kind of get the goat of the other person and get them in their ego. And then they're hoping that that person will kind of get out of their ego to come get in a relationship with them. And even if it's not you, that some of these people that you already might know are like this, they might go wear their false mask to someone else, but it could be because they're still trying to get someone who they are trying to manipulate to get in a relationship with them. Okay. Now that we're done with that, we talk about, that these energies can be harnessed by people harnessing them in a shadowy way because high vibe people deal with people who wear a false mask, who aren't who they say they are. And for the high vibe people that have already been there and done that, I think they've learned a lot of valuable lessons to love themselves, work through their own mental conflict about the fact that we do have these emotionally complex feelings towards people, and learning to love themselves, to not indulge people in poor behavior, and to believe in themselves and believe in their dreams and believe that they deserve just and fair and balanced, loving relationships. And they've learned to listen to their intuition. And kind of previously, some people kind of could have been tipped out of balance. We've all got lessons to learn in our life. And it could have been learning a lesson and letting kind of your more emotional, loving nature run your life so that we can end up maybe in our Aries energy, which is Emperor energy, which if we're a high vibe Emperor, we're operating from Empress energy. And so some people, a hard lesson they could have had to learn was that I can't let my loving nature take precedence in my life because it throws my life out of balance. I have to take everything into consideration. And part of that is loving and believing in myself to stand up for what I believe in. And if I'm being truthful and honest and authentic and tempered in myself, the people I'm in relationship with I want to be in a relationship with people who are motivated and inspired to be that way within themselves. And if they're not, I see the truth of it and I wish them peace, kind of like we're not on the same page. Oh, if you're immature and impulsive, yep, I've already went out with immature, impulsive people. I'm not going to try to change you. I wish you peace. I see the truth. And I'm going to go try to find the people who are on the same page as me. Oh, you're kind of prideful or egotistical? Yeah, I've dealt with people who are prideful and egotistical. I wish you peace. We're not on the same page. I want to be with people who've worked through that and gotten out of their more prideful, egotistical nature. Oh, you're really competitive in the world or competitive in relationships where you treat your partner like someone you need to defeat to show that you're more. Yeah, I've already been in relationships with people like that. I want to go find the people who don't treat their partners or friends like somebody they need to defeat and are competing with, you know? And I just think the high vibe people have seen the truth and learned a lot of lessons in life about, things they could have not realized were hidden in the dark. And the whole thing is, there's people in the world that are more aligned with their loving, hopeful, believing nature. And there's, for every person that's over here in whatever stage of learning, growing, maturing, healing, there's other people that in a world of duality that can present themselves as being that type of person, but they're really not. They're kind of more aligned with pride or ego or fear or insecurity or codependency or competitiveness. But that's the thing of living in a world of duality. People can present themselves any way they want to in the world. And I think a valuable lesson is some high vibe people who harness high vibe Cancer energy have really learned they need to listen to their intuition, because people can present themselves any way they want. But is that the truth of who they are? And I think before people are letting their more vulnerable, I mean, you can be loving and nurturing and supportive and trying to inspire people to love and believe in themselves, but nobody's getting to where I'm letting my more authentic and my dream, what I want to manifest as a dream nature, until I realize that the devil is dead within you. That you have freed yourself from your more shadowy nature. And if I see that you have not done that, then this relationship with you is going nowhere. You're someone I can know. You're someone I can, we all know all sorts of people in the world. You're someone I know. But, you're not the person who I'm going to have my dreams come into reality with. What's coming up for people who are in some high vibe Cancer energy that they might not know? See coming. The World card, because of the Tower. So in high vibe, the World card talks about completing a cycle, learning a lesson, growing, healing, maturing yourself, having detached from something within yourself that needed to be learned, which can be, I can love people and have love for people who are kind of shadowy, but I don't have to try to build a long-term foundation with them. And just having learned that, I can have people in my life, but I don't have to get sucked back into, I don't know, investing my time and energy into working together with them the way I did. There's someone I know. There's an acquaintance, like people who might have been a good friend become more of an acquaintance. People who had been a romantic interest is now someone that is an acquaintance. Just because you've learned lessons in life and you've seen the truth of their foundation. And it's a process. And some people, and it can take a long time, because we do have these emotionally complex feelings towards people, and it takes time to love and believe in ourselves and stand up for what we believe in, and to love ourselves enough to get out of our more codependent energy on people. And I don't need a certain person in my life. I need people that harness certain traits and characteristics and ways of being within them. And probably 50% of the world is on the side of choosing hope and faith and belief and love and growing and maturing and self-disciplining their shadow nature. And 50% of the world struggle with that to some degree. And it's like, I wish you peace, but I would say emotionally detaching from some people and realizing that a foundation is over. And then I think there'll be other people that could approach you and other people that you'll meet in your life who've also dealt with situations like this. And they've also done the healing work, and they're starting to listen more to their intuition and love themselves to get through their own mental conflict about balancing out their emotions, about why they also could have indulged people who were maybe things within them that were manipulating and controlling them, and people in their life who were then that they were hanging out with that liked them living their life that way, that were kind of trying to manipulate and control them, and seeing what they need to detach from within themselves and other people in their life. And some of those people want to move forward with you because they did see the truth that they could have within themselves and other people in their life were trying to manipulate and control them from living their authentic life and being in the friendships and relationships with the people that they really wanted to be in relationship with. we have this dualistic nature, and we can have people in our life who love and encourage us to listen to our intuition, to grow and heal and mature ourselves to become all we can be, and they're not trying to manipulate us. And then we can have people in our life who don't want us to do those things and want to have us keep living our life the way they live their life, and want us to make them like the center focus and not align with the people in our life who are loving and encouraging. And sometimes some people can have love for some of those people in their life, but I'm not going to let you manipulate and control me. You know, I have my own, because high vibe energy is about being independent. I have my own things that drive and motivate me and things that I enjoy, which might not be what drives and motivates you and what you enjoy. But I shouldn't have to give up the things I enjoy just because you want me to make it all about you. You know, if you like different things and you don't want to participate in that, then don't participate in that. But some people are having to check some people in their life. What's going on for the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy that they might not see coming? Okay, the Two of Pentacles not showing itself, the King of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords because of the Three of Pentacles. So again, we can all get in relationships kind of, well, I guess we live in a world of duality, which means you can either pick truth and love and growing and maturing and being motivated and inspired to heal. You can choose not to want to do that. And then a lot of the people too are still going back and forth and they haven't picked a path. And what some of the shadowy or more worldly focused people could be surprised about is that the high vibe people are no longer juggling with this card being rejected. They've seen the truth, and they're speaking the truth and standing in their truth and defending their truth. That, there might be people in my life who I viewed as someone I wanted to work with, I wanted to work for, I wanted to marry, I was married to. But if those people might have, I'm just standing in my truth. You can look stable, you can look abundant, you can look mature, you can look like you have status, image, power, money, whatever. If you're not willing to work cooperatively with me in a relationship, I'm going to be defensive to you. And that's what some people don't get, is they could have a lot of money, status, image, power, look very successful. And for some reason, they think people should just want to keep kind of indulging them in their ego. And it's like, I shouldn't have to indulge you in your ego. If you want someone to indulge you in your ego, you're going to have to go find someone else. And some of those people are seeing the truth of it, that other people have, when one person is holding the pentacle, it can mean, in high vibe, they did this work within themselves. Virgo goes within ourself, our own Virgo energy, does the inner work to see the truth, because the truth sets us free. And they went within to see the truth. And for a long time, people could have been trying and offering love to people to try to get them to see the truth. You're being kind of prideful or defensive or whatever. And eventually they see the truth. If you were motivated and inspired to be more just and fair and loving, you would be. And I'm not going to take it personally. I wish you peace. I've seen the truth. I have a dream. Your dream is different of how you want to be in a relationship. So I'm going to balance out my emotions that this is over. What you're motivated and inspired to operate from in a relationship or friendship is different than what I'm motivated and inspired to operate from. And some people are realizing people are no longer juggling. For some of the people who thought they could go have a victory with someone else, some of those people no longer consider them as an option. Some of those people found someone else who maybe was willing to indulge them more in a relationship. If you're getting in a relationship because you don't want to do love, or you're immature, or you're defensive, or you're materialistic, or you're prideful, or you're lazy, or you're immature, and if they're trying to find someone who'll basically indulge them being that way. And for some of the people, they could have had a problem because one person wanted to have the scales tipped in their favor. The other person could have wanted the scales tipped in their favor, and the other person found someone else who is willing to invest and defend them, being conceding to them. So they maybe didn't get what they wanted. But the whole thing is they're going to find other people that are maybe willing to work with them, maybe because of the money and the status and the image, and willing to kind of indulge them in their egoic nature. And if that person during the time frame of the relationship starts to do this work within themselves to heal from their own self-limiting beliefs, some of their fears, their insecurities, this whole thing is going to play out again. And the other person is going to have mental conflict about staying in a relationship with them, and they're going to become defensive, and they're probably going to leave. If they find someone who is kind of on the same page as them, who likes repeating this pattern and way of being in a relationship, and is defensive to love also, well, then we might have two people that have some lessons learned about love, and they might get in a relationship, maybe even marry someone where both people are kind of defensive because they have inner conflict about love and both defensive to love. So then you're in a relationship that by maybe worldly standards looks very victorious, but neither person wants to put in work and effort to deal with their issues, to temper their fears and their insecurity and their ego, but they're just trying to be strong about the fact that they're in a relationship that looks victorious by worldly standards, and they want to stay in it because maybe more of the ego or the image, or want to be in a relationship, but where both people are defensive. And high vibe people have detached from that foundation, and I think they're going to get in relationships. The devil can mean with people they're attracted to. And they've both put an end to their more immature nature about being about themselves to be more authentic and vulnerable. And they have a dream, and they're going to work together on manifesting a dream into reality. We're on the same page. The things that we want to manifest and the foundation we want to manifest it from is the same. And the other people are going to manifest what they think is their dream life, manifesting it from the foundation of the things that motivate and inspire them, which maybe isn't love. Fear, insecurity, materialism, ego, competitiveness, defensive to love, defensive to healing and growing and maturing, wanting to live life like they've been living it. And the other people's like, I've already lived life like that. There was things about it I did like, things about it I didn't like. And I am wanting to take the things that I did like about it and put my own unique spin on it to give birth to something new. I'm ready to go to the next phase of life. I have a dream. And again, it's kind of like you could equate it to people who aren't ready to quit being 15 years old and learn how to drive and get a job and face their fears and love and believe in themselves. And other people are willing to become more like an 18-year-old. It's kind of just like that. It's just that when we were young, we had a lot more peer pressure to keep up with our peer group. But once we become adults and we're out of high school and we have jobs and we can get in relationships, some people, you're blending in with the whole like grown-ups. And, some people are just happy doing that and they don't have any desire to live their life differently. And that's fine. They can live their life the way they want, the same way all their life. Other people kind of going with the flow of life is where you keep kind of growing and healing and maturing yourself and facing your fears just like you did from 15 to 18 to 21 to 25. And they're looking for the other people who are kind of motivated and inspired to overcome when, because shadowy energy, it can become stagnant and dead because there's nothing new to learn there. And some people are okay with that. I don't care if it's stagnant and dead, there's nothing new to learn here. I like living my life like this. Other people, when it kind of becomes stagnant and dead, they listen to their intuition that it's time for me to dump some of my baggage that tempts me to keep living my life like this. It's blocking me from my full potential to becoming all I can be and trying to stop me from listening to my intuition. And I don't want my fears and insecurities to stop me. So then they do this work within themselves to detach and work through all their fears and insecurities, to step out of their comfort zone, to keep moving forward and dump the baggage, And it's just to find people who are on the same page as you. So there you go, Cancer energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.